you have players who are so committed, they would die on the pitch kind of thing, because football is literally a way out for them. In Singapore, on the other hand, you've got a lot of options. Education can bring you to different places. Money can be earned through many different means, right? So there are a lot of talent, but ultimately not every talent reaches the finishing line.
So when you talk to parents like that, they don't come back and say, Gavin, please, you keep quiet, okay? This is my kid. No, they're quite collaborative.
So far. So far. Players are not robots. Players have emotions, players have families, players have kids and wives. And so oftentimes people think like, okay, your job is to go out there and deliver on the pitch. You should be 100% regardless of everything else. You're being paid a salary, you should do your job. But it's not like that, because human performance, we are all a consequence of our environment.
To celebrate SG60, we're interviewing 60 Singaporean seniors over 60. And if you want to get involved, time is running out. So listen up. The project is called Words of Wisdom. And we are capturing stories of Singaporean seniors as national heirlooms to be preserved for future generations. And this is your final chance to nominate a loved one to be interviewed, because the remaining spots are disappearing fast. Your parent, grandparent, or that wise uncle could miss their place in history if you don't act now. And here's the best part. It's a heartfelt one-on-one interview done remotely. So no travel, just their life story recorded from home. This is their last chance to be heard, so nominate them right now at our website folklories.com. And don't forget, the first interviews are already live, and you can hear them at the same link. The link is in the show notes, so hurry because we are closing nominations very soon. And now, on to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 𝗖𝗵𝗲, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking to someone who is in the space that we care about a lot, lah.
In the space where we are very critical and usually armchair critics, lah. Right?
Correct. Yeah. And armchair critics, exactly, lah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an exciting time, and it is the space of football, Singapore football. We grew up watching Singapore football.
Yes.
But now with us today, we have the interim head coach of the men's national team, Gavin Lee. What's up, man, Gavin?
Hi guys.
Welcome to 𝗖𝗷𝗲, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous now.
Nervous?
Oh, keep it chill, man.
Yeah,
keep
but
it chill.
are you nervous because like there's a big match coming up this week for you, or like the nerves is?
I'm nervous because we're close in a small space.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, like hearing us, talk about how we grew up in with Singapore football everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the same for you, lah.
Yeah. I grew up. My father is a coach. He still is a coach, and I remember as the earliest memories, I was always kicking a ball in that sense, and I've always followed my dad around his football trainings, and so that probably have influenced me unconsciously, maybe, and that's why I'm loving the game.
But right now, do you get coached by your dad about being a coach?
No, I think he gave up after and that's why I didn't make it.
No, but that means as a young kid and all, you were playing to, with the aspirations of becoming a footballer, lah, or a professional footballer and all.
So growing up, I was just like everybody else, right? I want to play for the national team. I want to win a World Cup. I want to do many amazing things. And then I was fortunate enough to be in the national youth teams. So like the players currently in the national team, like 𝗪𝗲𝗪, he's one. So those were my teammates. And then, but soon after, I saw like, oh, I'm not at the same level as these guys.
Even at that young age?
About 50, or rather I knew. Right? I had the awareness to know like, maybe I'm not going to make it. And so that was also the time where I was struggling a lot with academics and balancing books and playing football together. And then one thing led to the other. I made a decision to focus more on coaching. So that's a strange one, I think.
But I mean, like to have that awareness at 15, because I can imagine a lot of 15-year-olds are like, okay, I mean, when I was 15, I thought I would play for Man U, even though I wasn't playing, like hockey was my main sport, but I thought, if I really try, I still got chance. And, I think every person goes through this age where you look at a professional footballer, they're like, oh, they're 22, I'm 15, I still got 7 years.
7 years, long time.
Yeah, now I look, I'm like, this guy's half my age. Holy shit, man. But like at 15 to have that awareness, given you had already, sounds like you gave a lot of your life to football already. Was it conversations with your dad, or were you just generally a mature kid?
I'm not sure if I was a mature kid, but I think when I was at 16, I think especially during the O-level periods, right, I knew I was struggling. And then I like to because okay, it's the same routine as players or students have now, right? You're in school from early morning to late afternoon, and then straight after that you're flying off to training. And then I often arrived to training as early as I could to do my homework.
Okay.
And then train, and then get home to about like 10 p.m. and also, right? So this is what probably a lot of the student players are facing right now as well. But for me, I was struggling in terms of coping with the demands in school. And then on the pitch as well, then you see these players flying around you. And you're like, maybe I'm not going to make it. And then I was thinking, if I don't make it, what else can I do?
Because you loved football.
I love football. And I really want to stay in the game. Right? And so that's why at some point during the process, I went to JC, junior college at 𝗲𝗲. And then you come to the point where, like all Singaporean families, you need to do a degree or you need to get a degree, right?
Yeah.
Or so they say. And I was like, okay, I've started coaching. I quite enjoy it. I seem half decent at it. What can I study to help me with this coaching? So there was sports science at NTU, and then I went to do that. Right, and so it was kind of a supplementary thing for my football coaching career. Right, that's why I often say my pro license, the coaching license, is more important than my degree.
But I mean, to Harish's question about like the awareness side of things, was there ever an element like to be a coach, you kind of, it's important to be a player and be in those, high pressure player situations to better understand what's required of a coach? Is there such a thing, or is it just very outdated thinking? Because I mean, there are success stories like Mourinho, who never was a player but a successful coach, right? Where are we at now in terms of thinking about that?
I mean, it's difficult when it comes to this kind of things, because it's like survivorship bias, right? They call it. So you only see who has survived. So obviously you have evidences of people like Mourinho who has never played, who has made it, but at the same time you have people who's never played but don't make it, but we don't talk about them because we don't know about them. Same for the players, right? Ex-players. Yeah. So it's difficult to talk about a reduced sample in that sense. But having said all that, like, coaching and playing is two different things. It's completely foreign, right, to each other. Because as a player, your job is to do. You go do the job on the pitch. But as a coach, you are actually thinking, reflecting, planning. And it helps if you know a little bit of football. Right? It does give you some insight to the players, how they think, what they might think about and stuff like that. But the one challenge might be to be able to translate all that experience into knowledge and then to apply that knowledge. Yeah, so that bit is quite critical.
I see.
But I mean, the fact that early on you decided you wanted to stay in football and you decided to turn a coach, what did your dad have to say about that? Because if, let's say, my kid in future tells me she wants to enter media or become a podcaster, right? I'm like, it's damn hard, lah. Are you sure you want or not? Did your dad have any advice, or how did he feel about you, going into the coaching thing?
To be honest, we didn't speak much. So I've got a relationship, maybe some similar in that generation, where you don't speak much to your parents.
You just
go and do it. And then I think knowing my dad is like, okay, as long as he sees I'm enjoying it, I'm doing it 100%, I really give everything I have to what I want to do, then it's good for him. And then as long as I got a degree.
I was going to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Buy
right?
you time.
The degree in sports science and management, it allows you to do things outside of even like football itself as well, right?
Yeah. If I stop being a coach, then I can always use that degree to do something else.
And I mean, did you have any concerns going into it? Because, Singapore, you look at your peers, what their aspirations are. I don't know, I mean, comparing to what my peer aspirations were when I was in university versus now, I think very different. Yeah. But back then, did you also have like a bit like, wow, if I do this, it's a big risk. Is this the right choice?
Not really. I was quite tunnel vision, to be honest. I was like, I want to stay in football. what can I do? Sports science or football coach. And I started coaching quite young, right? And so I really found a lot of satisfaction, a lot of meaning, purpose in it. And I was like, yeah, just go straight into it, don't look back almost.
Well, was there any, I mean, because I think you were born in 1990, right?
Yeah.
Did the whole dream team phase, did that mean anything to you? Because for us, it did, right? We were born in the 80s. But for you in the 1990, you must have been
not
4 or 5
so much. Like I remember watching Fundy play.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't as strong of a memory than watching like Dan Bennett, Farideh Mustafic, Indra, Rafi Ali, these guys. So it's a little bit later.
So it wasn't even the dream team fever that inspired you. It was like almost an
4 years old.
level.
He was 4 years old.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's an intellectual level of football that he was enjoying already at a young age. Before even.
I'm not sure about that. I know my dad brought me to kick footballs every single day.
Oh, really?
So then, that I remember, my fond memory was the 98 World Cup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you watch Zidane, you watch Ronaldo at his peak, right?
Yeah.
So that was quite a good, strong memory I had.
I see.
Yeah. And national team was like the AFF, the Suzuki Cup.
Yeah.
But your dad, was he walking you through like, hey, this is the tactics that France was using in the
No, I was just watching him.
Oh, okay.
He was probably busy. Like, to be honest, we didn't speak much about, even to today, we don't talk much about tactics.
I see.
I think we have found a way to communicate without communicating.
Okay. But I guess that's the interesting thing. Like, I mean, a lot of people, even myself, I watch a lot of football.
Yeah.
But I don't really necessarily know like exactly what a coach does before or after a game.
Okay.
But it doesn't sound like you necessarily sit there and just talk about tactics all day, right? But what I mean, for the layperson who only appreciates football once a week, like what exactly does a coach do from Monday to Friday before the games?
I mean, so first of all, your starting point is always the next game. Right, but obviously you're coming off your previous game as well. So the day after your game, you typically review the match with the team in terms of footage and conversations and stuff like that. And then, maybe an off day. And then in the training leading up to the next game, you would probably already have analyzed your opposition. And then you would have decided, this is how we want to play them offensively, defensively, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, blah, 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 this player or that player. And then you plan out the strategy within the week of training. Right. So you're practicing things that are likely to happen in a coming game. And so that takes a little bit of work because it's not. So you have to prepare the footage, you have to prepare the session, then you're reviewing the sessions at the team level, individual level. So a lot of individual meetings as well that happens. So this is the lead up into a game, and that's why we spend a lot more time in the office than on the training pitch. Right? And that's why when we go to the training pitch, we're often more happy than when we were stuck in the office because we're more, let's say,
on the battlefield.
On the battlefield, yeah.
But I mean, just to go, close off your careers, you did sports science. Then after that, you entered football. You were taking your coaching certifications on the side, is it?
Yes.
And you were coaching, I'm assuming, youth teams?
Yeah.
So then how just help us join the dots from there. How do you end up as like interim head coach of FAS?
How long do we have?
TLDR, bro.
Okay. No, well, jokes aside. So I started my coaching career at JSSL. So Harvey Davies opened the doors for me.
JSSL is?
It's a private academy.
Okay.
So over there, because my dad was a coach there, so I followed him. They opened the doors for me, and they gave me my first full-time job also. And so in that program, I coached from the under 4 program all the way to like under 16. So I have a whole spectrum of experience, boys, girls, younger age groups, older age groups. And then one day Tampines came calling, and I went to Tampines. Desmond Ong brought me over, and he gave me the pathway to have the first head coach opportunity. And so I was there from like 2019 all the way to 2025, and then the previous national team coach Ogura, he came and visit all the different clubs. He watched our training. Apparently, he liked what he saw. He invited me on to be his assistant. And then one thing led to the other. I hung around a little bit, and then when he left there, it's like, oh, can you be in the interim for a little bit?
So what do you think he saw at Tampines Rovers that made him think, okay, this is the This guy's doing something interesting.
You got to ask him. No, I really don't know. But I guess he saw a lot of things that he resonated with, or he found it quite similar to what he would do. Right. So we are both cut from a similar cloth in that sense. And then that would help, right? Because the last thing you want is someone you bring in that's so foreign that you're just going to have conflicts all the time.
And how would you describe that cloth? Like, what is your football ethos? Like your philosophy?
Again, philosophy is a big word. It's too grand a word. Like at Tampines and with the national team now, often we tell the players, right, the football we want to play is a brand or a style that fans will want to watch, right? Fans will find it quite exciting. They enjoy watching it. And then for the players, also it must be a style of football that they enjoy playing, right? Because the last thing you want is that they don't enjoy what they do, right? And also then train in a way that they find satisfaction and fulfillment in that sense. Right? So and what style it might be really depends on the players you have or players we have.
So I mean, what is the difference between going from assistant coach to the head coach? Like what's that? What do you need to do to move on? Go up that ladder to become the head coach? I mean, not the political side of things, but in terms of skills or whatever, what do you need to bring to the table?
Yeah, the assistant coaches don't typically have to do this.
Okay. The PR side of things also.
No, yeah. So because it really depends on how the head coach designate the roles. Some head coaches are more managerial style. They like to manage the off the pitch kind of things, but set the framework for things on the pitch and let the people get on with it. Some are more hands-on. So like your Arteta type, right? He's more hands-on. He wants to do everything and be involved in everything. So it really depends, because it depends on what the head coach wants, and then the assistant are kind of there to support that process.
Okay.
So where do you sit on that spectrum in terms of?
I think I'm more Arteta than Ferguson.
Hands-on.
Yeah, more hands-on.
I thought Ferguson is hands-on.
I thought Ferguson controls
Ferguson
everything.
was very hands-off. So if you read the autobiographies, there will be sessions where he's not around. Like in a week, he might be there 2-3 times. But when he's there, then all the players are like...
Okay. And that's why he needed people like Roy Keane and all to be the on-the-field
I guess so. And he needed a very good number 2. So over the years,
Brian Kidd and all. Yeah. So I mean, okay, we know your life story, but one big thing is, unfortunately, right now, Singaporeans' perception of Singapore football not the best, you know, and it has been that way for quite a few years, unfortunately. When you entered coaching, I mean, I would imagine that Singapore football was far from its peak or prime.
Right.
Then when you joined, like, what made you want to join, aside from just loving football? Is it like the fact that you see untapped potential, or like how do you feel entering an industry that was not as sexy as it used to be?
Yeah, okay, but when I joined the industry, it was definitely not for the fame or fortune, because I'm still not famous or not very rich. It is really because you grew up enjoying the game so much, and you be like, why don't I want to stay in the game?
Yeah,
and then in a way, I found a way that I could contribute through coaching, and seeing having experienced those. Like you see your players improve, you see the teams get better. You know, it just fills you up with a lot of satisfaction and purpose in that sense. And so it wasn't so much about what the game can give to me in the eventuality of things. It wasn't like, Singapore football is not so it's not so bright and shiny in that sense, I shouldn't do it. No, I didn't really care about it, to be honest. It was just like, I love the game. I want to study it so much. So let's just stay in the game.
Okay.
And those stints that you had as an assistant coach under foreign coaches, right? Was there anything that you felt that these foreign coaches brought to Singapore, the style of coaching here?
Okay, so based on my experience, I've only been assistant with Coach Ogura, who just left. He brought a lot of like what we don't know, kind of thing. So smaller things like administration, management of media and stuff like that. Because he came from a higher level, if you like. He's got skill sets and knowledge of what is gold standard in certain things. And these are the things that, again, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
So he was able to help us to fill that gap in that sense in quite a few of these areas. But in terms of the football, like I said, if you've been in the game for long enough, you know that everybody has got different styles, everybody got different ways of working. So it's not so much of like, the only foreigners work like this. Local, it's not like that, right? Because even in Singapore, with all the different local coaches, you would find varied styles, right? So it wasn't like, that's the Japanese way. It wasn't so much like that, but it was like, okay, the kind of content and knowledge he had, perhaps we might not have because we have not experienced the kind of competitions and the level that he has been at before.
But then what happened, like, if you have any thoughts on, like, at one point the Singapore team was getting that experience because they were doing well internationally and all that, no? But where did the lineage kind of break down? Because, I mean, 1994, we were pretty a good team, and I think even regionally. At what point did things start, like, in your mind, kind of maybe not fulfilling our potential? And I've also heard this, that the other countries, the rate of their improvement in football technology and all that also increased a lot. But like, from your being in the game so long, how would you kind of think about that? Or how would you reflect?
I mean, if we look at it big picture wise, I mean, at one point the S League was so vibrant where you have the best Thai players coming in, right? Because
that was around which year? When it first came out, like late 90s.
Yeah, and then early 2000s. And so you had the likes of Zico and 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗏 and those guys, right? Big players coming in, the best Thai players. And then and then Thailand got their act in order. They professionalized the league. Money came in, and so players stayed where they were. And so in the other countries as well, Vietnam League started to go very strong. Money got very big. Malaysia as well. And so when you have less, when you have more competition for talents, then naturally also your quality of foreign players would not be the same as before, right? Because they often tell me at the start of the S League, the quality of the national players were very, very high. Geylang used to have Iran national players. Right?
Ali Dai.
Ali
Dai was...
I don't think it's Ali Dai.
Not Ali Dai. I remember. Ali Dai is like the top goal scorer of Iran. Okay.
So it's a consequence of many things, right? Singapore is continuing its path, but others are also improving. And sometimes there's also a numbers game, right? You look at Thailand, how many 100 million people, right? Indonesia as well. The depth of competition just drives the larger amount of quality players, and so the tip of the iceberg for them is a lot bigger than maybe ours. Right. So over time, if you get more things right, then naturally it's a pure numbers game.
But then what would you say to countries that sometimes have civil war, like Croatia, like, and still can produce world-class talent? And it's not, feel free to say that Singaporeans are to blame also. That's totally understandable. Our culture, the attitude of parents, priorities of individuals. Like you see countries with similar size populations.
The thing to that. So I've said this quite recently again. Sometimes we have to understand the context, like you said. Like I spent a week in Argentina before. I lived in my friend's living room and followed him around with his football club, right? And my experience there showed me, like, you have players who are so committed. They would die on the pitch kind of thing. They don't have money to take bus home kind of thing, but they'll just stay in the club, because football is literally a way out for them, right? So the competition actually means something for them. Is if live or die kind, life or death kind of situation. In Singapore, on the other hand, you've got a lot of options. It's a lot safer. Education can bring you to different places. Money can be earned through many different means, right? So sometimes people always say, Singapore footballers, they're not motivated enough. They're not passionate enough. They don't want it more. But sometimes it's not their fault because they didn't choose to be born in these conditions right here. So it's just the nature of things sometimes. And then the question for us is, how can we reduce the gap. You know, then like you said, there are small countries as well. People often reference Croatia.
Yeah.
But again, Croatia, what is similar is the population size.
Yeah.
But everything else is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe those are the defining factors as well that we don't have. And the question is, how can we bridge it? But to give you those answers, I don't think I'm smart enough to provide those solutions.
But so in that case, what keeps you optimistic? I mean, obviously you have to be, because you are the head coach of the national team now. What keeps you optimistic about the future of Singapore football when you see the current state?
Well, the current state, I think what we can observe factually is there are more interested parties with bigger resources coming in. So, for example, Lion City Sailors is a good example. And then now the federation has Forrest Lee in place with his guys, Desmond Ong in there. So you got good people in there with more resources. So it shows that they want to help improve the state of football. And then you've got the UTR project from the government who wants to try to also improve. So you've got many people.
Sorry, to clarify, UTR is Unleash the Raw.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you've got all these different organizations, different people who want to lift football in Singapore. And it's good to see, you know, that it's not just left alone in that sense.
But then, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I mean, does it also? How about the actual fans itself, lah?
Yep.
Do you feel like we're turning a corner with the general perception about pursuing football as a career and things like that?
I don't think we'll turn the corner so soon, but I think we'll get there. Right, but the burden is on the current group of players to show the future generations, players and parents that, look, this is you can have a decent profession in football, right? And again, it's a little bit logical in the sense, like, the better we do on a pitch, the better we perform, potentially better results, because results are not in our control, right? So we have to perform well first. Results will get better, more investment comes in, and then
it builds from there.
Yeah, so all we can do now in our capacity is to be the best version of ourselves, like we often say.
Yeah. But I mean, what are the challenges that the players face? Because I think sometimes I can imagine the struggles they face, not easy, you know, to be a professional footballer in Singapore. And maybe it might be struggles that we ourselves on the outside, we don't understand and we don't know.
Yeah, again, players are not robots. Players have emotions, players have families, players have kids and wives. And so oftentimes people think like, okay, your job is to go out there and deliver on the pitch. You should be 100% regardless of everything else.
Yeah.
But people don't see behind the scenes where maybe the child is ill, so the player didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so that would affect the performance on the pitch, or he has been ill the last 2 days. But people just say, no, you're being paid a salary, you should do your job. But it's not like that, because human performance, we are all a consequence of our environment. Right? So again, as coaches, as staff, our job is to try manage the surrounding as much as possible, give them the best preconditions to go out there and perform. But ultimately, there's too many things you cannot control. Right. Yeah.
So I mean, what I'm hearing is that there are differences between Singapore and, say, Argentina, obviously, right?
Yep.
But these are the cards that we are dealt with.
Exactly.
And we just have to find a way to make it work on the pitch when there's 11 people there against 11 people from Argentina.
Yep.
But I mean, there are some, and this is the common thing that people say. In Singapore, the environment, last time we can play football on the void deck so easy. Now we cannot.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally our environment around us changing, and for better or worse, because that's just, we don't have enough land space and all. But do you think that is as big a factor in terms of like the development of young talent, like just the availability of places to play?
I mean, availability might have gone down, but the access to organized training has gone up. So you lose something, but you kind of gain something, right? And I think like there are a lot of private academies now, so there are many options for interested players, right? Even if you, let's say you can't afford the prices of some private academies, you always got the 𝗪𝗲, which is like a football for all, sports for all kind of program. So you've got a lot of access now. And the argument is, you're getting better training, better coaching from a younger age.
Yeah.
Right, in theory.
In theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in theory, but like practically speaking, I mean, this trend has been happening over the past few years, right? More private academies. I know some of my friends who have kids like 7, 8 years old. They've been sending their kid for football training like 4 years already.
Yeah.
But I mean, the results, like, okay, so from the outside, and please pardon me, but it feels like there's no improvement. In fact, it feels we're getting worse.
Yeah.
Why? Is it because, I mean, because I used to play sports also, right?
Yeah.
And back then, there's always this thing of how to make it as a professional person. Sometimes the bureaucracy gets in the way. Of course, there's the argument against NS. Is it just like there are so many obstacles we have to overcome that without these private academies, we would be even worse? So and especially when we keep hearing goal 2020, goal 2030, goal 2034, but we're not meeting there, then it's like you work in a company, you set goals, but you never get how to keep people motivated.
Well, first of all, I think the goals are a direction, right? Just a direction that we want to pull towards, or at least keep everybody aligned.
Yeah,
I think that the goals are there for that reason, and then but for us, like you said, so a company will have a goal because that's the overall intention that guides everybody. That's the purpose we're driving towards too. But ultimately, there's so many different factors at all different levels that can hinder the process.
Yeah.
Right. So many. So okay, people argue maybe national service is one. Maybe education is one, because in other countries they don't really care about education. They are just full-time players from very early on. And but unfortunately, like you said, these are the cuts that we are dealt with. Then the question is, how can we find the best solution for everyone? Right. Unfortunately, football is often a game of luck also. Because you cannot control the results. Right? You might have 89% possession.
Yeah.
The referee makes one bad call and then you're 1-0 down.
Yeah.
Something like so it's a chance game as well. So even that is an extra layer of variability. And so it can be quite chaotic sometimes, because there's so many things you want to try to fix. There's so many things you're trying to solve. Then when you come to the game day also, you got no guarantees. You know, so it's not a easy there are no easy fix. Right? People often say that, oh, you just do this, you get that.
Yeah.
Causation sounds so simple sometimes, but it is not like that.
Yeah.
You know, so but ultimately, hopefully, with more people aligned, more of the organizations working together, then we might take steps towards where we want to be.
So taking aside all those factors, if we talk about talent, right? I mean, even at 15, you had the self-awareness to gauge different levels of talent amongst you and your peers.
Yeah.
When we look at Singapore talent, I mean, I've heard this anecdotally, but would you say there is a huge difference in talent at a young age between us and other countries that have, better footballing standards? Like, does Singapore have footballing talent?
Yeah, there are a lot of talent. But ultimately, not every talent reaches the finishing line.
Yeah.
And okay, if we define finishing line as professional level, right? Because like we've seen so many examples before where someone was very talented at a young age, or maybe the most talented at a young age, but then he fell out of love with the game, or he became so complacent that he didn't develop the thinking tools and that can actually bring him there, or that's actually necessary to get there. So there's so many cases like that. So we have a lot of talents, but not everybody gets there. And the problem again goes back to the numbers game. Because let's say you define every country as 0.5% of the population as top talents. Malaysia has 100, I don't know how many millions of people, and we have only 6 million.
Yeah.
So pure numbers, they will probably have more talent than us. So you cannot compare absolute thing here.
Yeah.
Because then we are from an unfair perspective to begin with.
Yeah.
Because to have the same absolute number as a country that's much bigger population, well, that means we must be very, very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I was getting at is, let's say, I mean, thankfully I got a chance to study abroad, right? And before I went, I was thinking, wow, I'm just a small Singaporean kid, go to this country with Americans and all, they'll be so much smarter. But then I realized when I went there, no, they're just like us.
Yeah.
And the almost the Western superiority that, you grew up with in the 80s or 90s, it's not really true.
Yeah.
And I would say even hockey, when we used to play like other countries at the younger age level, the gap is not that wide.
Yep.
So what I was getting at is that if you look at a talented Singaporean, is there really that much difference between a talented person in another country of the same age group? Like that pure, how you say, primal talent, that means we have it. We do have...
I do believe we have, because I spent many years at the youth level and I've seen some very, very good players.
Yeah.
And then, you have these teams competing in European competitions and they go to Scandinavia and they do really well. Right? So in terms of that kind of ability, yeah, we do have them. Then the challenge is how do we keep sustain the development so they don't stagnate. And then to make sure they eventually arrive into the national team.
Do you find that as a head coach, you actually have to spend a lot of time? Because what you said earlier about sometimes a young player, really talented, falls out of love with the game.
Yeah.
Do you have to spend a lot of time, like almost like as a psychologist, to talk to young players to prevent that kind of, mentality from kicking in? Or is that a lot of your job as well, to just find ways to keep young people motivated and following a direction?
Yeah, funny enough, Desmond Ong, who was my chairman at Tampines, he often calls me doctor. Because a large part of time is spent working with individuals, speaking to them, and a lot of times is helping them to understand themselves better, helping them to see problems from a different perspective, giving them thinking tools to overcome the challenge. So it's like also we often, so because we also have youth teams and parents are involved, and I often tell the parents, it's like our job as coaches is not to take the obstacles away for your son, right? Our job is to give them the tools to overcome the hurdle. Because if we start clearing these obstacles, then in the future, when someone don't do it for them, then they're done in that sense. So a lot of times actually spent giving the team, giving the players, helping them to reframe their thinking, really. Help them to see different perspective, and then so that life goes on and we keep pushing, we keep trying again.
So when you talk to parents like that, they don't come back and say, Gavin, please, you keep quiet, okay? This is my kid. No, they're quite collaborative.
So far. So far. No, but yeah. So far, yeah, they kind of understand the message. I think.
Yeah. So then, in terms of Singapore as a society also, right? Because I'm sure we all have a part to play in maybe not being as supportive as local sportsmen as we should be. Like what would you say to Singaporeans who maybe grew up in the football era and now are like, okay, I might as well just watch EPL. Like, can you blame them? Do you feel like we're not stepping up, or how do you think about that?
I mean, you can't blame them, because ultimately it's their choice, right? We cannot control them. It is, you want to watch Liverpool play, and it clashes with a Singapore Premier League game, then you choose what you choose, But our job, often we say we just control what we can control. Yeah, and it's just the product we try to put out there on the field. And I know for sure, like at Tampines, we had a very good fan base, right? They travel with us, they're always there. And I think most of the time they enjoy watching the football. So they're quite a loyal group, right? So the question is, how can we attract more people? But that might be a marketing problem or a marketing side of things. But for us as a coach, our job is, what kind of product are we putting out there? And then hopefully one day they enjoy it so much that they will choose to come to our games and not Liverpool games. Right? Because again, it's a demand. Like, okay, it's their choice. It's their choice. But our job is to put the product there more. It's more shiny. It's more attracting that they want to come there.
Yeah. Because some people have characterized it as a chicken and egg problem, right?
It is. Yeah.
Like if they don't feel that the football is exciting, the match is exciting to go for, then they will just continue not supporting it. Then they'll just keep saying, "Oh, it's not exciting enough for me to want to go." Yep. And then after that, like with less supporters and less
exactly,
funding,
then less funding and all of that.
Yeah.
So but it's no point stressing about that problem if we don't just. But instead, we should just focus on the job.
Yeah.
Just do the job well.
Yeah.
Or at least put a better product out there.
Yeah.
And then at least now the ball is not on our court. We throw the ball back at next person.
But doesn't social media change it a little bit? Where nowadays, I mean, you hear players on social media sometimes, like the big players, they have millions of followers on social media, and they themselves can drive a lot of interest for people to come to games. But for you as a coach, like it sounds like you're a purist. You want to focus on the game itself, right? But if that part about being a social media star is as important in drawing fans as like playing good football, would you as a coach say, hey, put your phone away, don't record this thing,
It's funny because I've heard that word before used on me, purist.
Yeah, that was something came to my mind as well.
No, look, I recognize the power of social media.
Yeah.
Right. I often tell the players, use it to your advantage. But the dangers are, they often build you up and then they'll tear you down very quickly. And so you must be able to live with the down moments with social media, right? Because if you live your life with social media as your food, right? The good times are nice, people praising you, what a player, and then you got a lot of followers. But at the same time, there are a lot of followers, they're going to tear you down once you stop scoring or once you start losing, right? Then how are you going to deal with it? Right? So if you need that to feel good, then you got to be ready for the flip side as well. But at the same time, there is a big potential to attract the next generation of fans because they're all on social media as well. So like I often say that my job is to coach the players on the pitch, and then the administration can help with this.
So no team TikTok dance or anything that you all film together or whatnot?
I don't think I'll get there anytime soon, but that's just me. Someone else might think differently.
So then how do you balance that? Because on one hand, I get what you're saying about these players are not robots. If you want to be on social media, you cannot advise them. But then you see, some of the old school coaches, like even what's happening in the US now with the Department of War, Secretary of Defense, saying no nonsense. We're going back to this. How do you balance that? Because again, you hear the legends of football in the UK saying discipline. No matter the way you tuck in your shirt when you're going into your car, that matters. I can imagine it's super hard to enforce. So for you, how do you balance that? Giving them agency, but also instilling a discipline.
Yeah, so that's often the challenge because you want to treat them like adults. But when there will be times where they needed to be treated like a schoolboy, then that's where you need to step in. So at the start of every season, we often draw boundaries or we set the framework and said, look, if we want to achieve this, then we all need to behave in a certain manner. But at the same time, we also understand that we're all humans. We will step out of line sometimes. So then how are we going to deal with each other like that? Right?
And what sort of behaviors? You mean like punctuality?
Or like not 100% in training sometimes. Punctuality is one of the biggest thing, right? That people might, they arrive a little bit late or they come a little bit late for late training or meeting. And then you just got to manage that. And then the longer the more time you have, then the more time you have to build that culture. And the moment you have more of a self-regulating culture, then it manages in itself. Like the All Blacks team kind of thing. And so, but at the same time, as a coach, then our job is to guide that process to make sure people don't step out of line too much, or if they step out of line, they're being brought back in, they're held accountable. So those are the not so nice conversations in that sense that we have to do. But they're not robots, right? Like you say, they discipline. I know that it's a very popular thing to say, discipline hunger, motivation. But I can also show you many examples where people are disciplined, hungry, and motivated who don't make it. Right? Then what? So we just have to be careful as to what we deem as necessary ingredients for success.
I mean, I've heard the fascinating story of even the coach Carlos Ancelotti. Like apparently, like one of the things that his players remember him for is like appearing at their houses for dinner the moment they join a team. Do you go to that extent of like almost becoming like a family friend of your players, or in order to get the best performance out of them? Like I mean, is there anything that your philosophy in terms of your emulating, or how do you feel your relationship with the players should be?
Well, I think the relationship is very important because the player must trust you first before you can kind of tell him what to do.
Okay.
right? Because if you don't trust someone, you're not going to listen to him. Like it's like 1 year in, 1 year out kind of thing, right? So the moment you have that kind of trust, that kind of bond, then the person won't want to let you down. And when you have that, it's very powerful, it's very strong. So at Tampines, we were there for many years, and so we've built that kind of bond, that trusting bond. And so it really helps that motivation side of things, if you like. But we do have meals together as a team. I remember maybe last year, Chinese New Year, I invited the foreign boys to my place to have kind of lohei and you know, so these kind of things, and to show them sometimes there's something outside of football. Because sometimes we get too serious.
Yeah.
And there must be a space to see the other side of the person in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then let's say Gavin, you know, someone comes to you and say, I give you a blank check.
Yep.
And like full power to do anything you want to change Singapore football. Yeah. What would be some of the things that you think, even if it sounds damn idealistic, is something you would want to do?
It's a tough one. Because again, there's so many angles you can tackle this. Like at a higher level, maybe you want designated training facilities for all the different clubs, right? Then maybe at a youth level, you want then for each club you want to maybe have a full-scale training program for all the ages, and then you want to get all the best coaches in, and then at the same time, hopefully you can open more doors to have better you have strong relationships with like MOE and MINDEF and all, to get everybody together. Let's find a way to give our boys the best chance of success, kind of thing. So it's tough. It's a tough question because a lot of money, but what are you going to spend it on? That's also going to be quite important. And sorry, just one more thing. If our place start earning more money as well,
that helps.
That helps. Yeah.
But how about for coaching, right? Because you've been a professional coach for most of your career. Is there an aspiration for coaches to, you know, one day go overseas and coach in different leagues and everything? Like for you, like how do you see your own career trajectory for the long term?
So I'm just like a player, right? The players always want to play in a bigger league. They want to test themselves in a bigger league. So same as me. But I've come to realize quite early on that it's no point thinking about the next. It's just more important to focus on the present. Because if you don't do the job well now, there's no future. You know? So it's just something that people find it boring already, but it's just like next action. Just focus on the current next action we need to do.
Got it. But then, so like for the local coaching scene specifically, like what, in your experience, what should coaches be doing to improve themselves and also to get to a higher level of coaching as well?
So first and foremost, we have good coaches in Singapore. We have quality local coaches. I think 𝗬𝗲 is doing very well in Malaysia. So hopefully one day we'll have more coaches, Singapore coaches overseas. Because again, it's like a role model thing, right? Like an idol thing. So like for a young player, if you see that a Singapore player is playing in the J League or Premier League, then it will send a message unconsciously that this is possible. So we stop limiting ourselves in here. So same for coaching, right? The more coaches you get out there, then they will like, it's possible. I want to be like him. And then and so that is an important starting point. You know, and then again, if we get to a stage where football is also providing enough food for the family, then that also helps, because then they can really focus on like educating themselves and stuff like that. Because now what you have is a context where maybe people are playing multiple roles, doing multiple jobs just to put food on the table, kind of thing. And so if you're busy doing that, then you don't really spend time like further educating yourself and stuff like that. So again, it's many different things that can happen in that sense.
But I mean, just in terms of like a coach, is it a very lonely kind of job where you come in with a vision and you have to change the culture, not only in the players but the whole the team staff as well? Is that the kind of does it feel like a very lonely kind of job where you have to go in and you kind of got to start everything from ground up, or how does it feel like whenever you're starting a new stint as a coach?
Well, I guess coaching can be lonely during the difficult moments. Because when you lose, it's all on you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you win, it's like everybody else's glory. But it's a little bit like, but this is the job. You accept everything that comes with it. And for me personally, when we lose, I'm the worst person to be here. Or rather, when we don't win. So even a draw is like my wife's she knows me well enough. If we don't win, right? And then he said, why you don't eat dinner? I'm like, right. So it can be quite difficult like that. But over the years, I've dealt with it better. At the start, it was tough. It's like I'll be thinking like, why didn't we win? Why didn't we get this decision? Why this? Why that? And it can get quite difficult. But after some time, then you learn to manage yourself a little bit better. You see bigger pictures and you're a little bit more accepting of things and stuff like that. But when it comes to working with the group, it's important to have good staff to begin with. Yeah. Right. Because if not, then you are just one man trying to fight the fires and stuff like that. So having good people around you is very important. So just because the head coach is out there in the media, he's often not alone. He's backed by a lot of a whole support team. Right? And then it helps if you can trust your team and you all get along. That really helps. But at the same time, when you don't get the result, then oftentimes you're also the only one out there.
There is something quite unique also about being a national team coach versus a club coach also, right? From what I understand, you don't get a lot of time like to prep with the team itself. Like actually, how does that, like, why is it like that and how does that work for you?
So, at least in the men's game, all the players are professional. They all have a club, so the club pay their salary, so they are assets of the club, right? And then when it comes to designated international windows, then the national team can call these players up. And so the players are only available to the national team during the designated windows. So every time it's about 10 days. And then you probably have 2 games in that 10 days. So normally you have like 3 days of training, game, and then another 4 days and then game in that sense. So you don't have a lot of time to train. So that is the biggest difference between club and international football.
Whereas club is like weekend.
Weekend. Every single day you see each other. You probably see each other more than you see your family, kind of thing. Right? But national team is a little bit different.
So you have to kind of do like a crash course in like getting everyone on the same page on day one.
So I often joke about this. The first national team training often look very chaotic because everybody come with their own preferences or their own references from the clubs and all. So national team is really, can you get everybody on the same page as quick as possible? But at the same time, not overloading them with information.
What was your trick? You do trust falls like together as a team, or ice baths, or what?
Well, I wish it works like that, like Ted Lasso.
Terrence,
like, so simple, like go ice bath. No, it's again, it's just going with times. We use a lot of video work, a lot of video work, and then just referencing things, and then normally good players pick things up quite quickly, right? So my challenge is every window I want to tell them like a million different things, but then I have to choose wisely what are the most important messages, and then deliver it in the clearest and the most concise way, so that they were like, okay, I understand. Next.
I see.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, like, after that happens, after the few days of training, like, is there do you have any rituals ahead of the game, or like what's your pre-game process? Because I remember
Arteta got a light bulb.
What does he do?
He gave there's a speech. He gives a team talk on YouTube where he brings a light bulb to the dressing room, and it's something to motivate players, something about how the light bulb gets.
No, it's about, I think, if you stand together.
The static or something.
Is that? Sorry, were you asking?
I was asking. I mean that also, but I remember listening to a podcast last time with Gilles St-Pierre, right? GSP, one of the MMA legends. George St-Pierre, and he was talking like ahead of the fight. Like the day before, I think he eats all his meals alone. He doesn't have it with his family because over time he just realized like they'll all be worried about him and all that. And it was quite heartening to know that even he felt like damn nervous the day before a fight. Because he's like an MMA legend. For you, like, is there anything in the lead up? Okay, even like your family knows, okay, tomorrow go game, don't talk to Gavin, you know, that kind of thing.
So for me as a coach, well, to be fair, I think all my friends know, like around the game, they
don't ask you out.
Well, to be fair, they've never asked me out. They stop asking me out over, like, when they see I've got a break, then they will shoot me a message kind of thing. But personally, for me as a coach, like this is not like, this is about routine and / superstitions, right? Because you know, like footballers, sometimes you want to put your right boot first, then left boot, your right shin pad first, and
correct.
you know, there are certain things that. So as a coach, I think earlier on, I didn't understand myself enough. I didn't really have enough knowledge of how the brain works and stuff. So I was a little bit superstitious. You know, I must do this, I must do that, I must do this so that we win the game. But then over time, you grew, like you became a little bit more logical, more aware. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's not no sense, right? But ultimately, I still have routines now because routines actually help to just maintain the state of neutral. Right, so that you don't need to worry, okay, what do I want to wear tomorrow, what do I want to, you know? So routine actually calms the brain down, but not at the expense of, I must do this so that we win the game. Right, at the start I was a little bit like this because, you know, you try to control things that you cannot control. And then you get very worried, so you must start controlling things so that you have that sense of control ultimately. Because when you're out there on the pitch, you realize very quickly when the game starts, you're
just a bystander.
You're just a bystander. I'm just like you watching in the stands kind of thing, right? And so I needed to find the ability to let it go in that sense. So right now I've just got routines. Daily, I wake up, go to the gym, make my protein, have my coffee, and then on game day I'll just preparing my slides and my messages. Not Arteta so elaborate, but you know, your key messages, and then and have a coffee again before game.
But halftime, like if you see something wrong, there's a chance to change things. Right? Like what? Like have you done that before? Like when the halftime you have to give some really hard, you know, hairdryer treatment, team talk.
I've done that quite a few.
Oh, you've done that.
So normally what happens at halftime, at least for me, is I've observed the first half. I've written down some notes, and then halftime will come in. I'll get the video, and then I'll find the certain moments that I want to show the team. And then we will show them maybe 4 or 5 scenes. Okay, this is good. This can be better offensively, defensively, and then finish off with a final message, if you like. So a lot of times it's just about, okay, we need to calm down. We need to just focus on this, focus on that. But sometimes like if I need to kick them up from the behind, and then I do it. And I've done it.
So there's a side of Gavin that, because you know, you seem so calm and measured and all. But are there clips of like, you know, Guardiola backstage, everybody sit down, sit down. You know, like there's that side of Gavin.
So our assistant now is 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗶. I don't know if he was a national captain. And because his Balkan is big and scary, right? And everybody always think like he's the bad guy, I'm the good guy. But he's also telling people, no. I'm Gavin is the bad guy.
Oh, really?
Because I can be quite hard on the players. But I can only be hard on the players because we have that trust. You know, they know it's not personal. And I'm never personal. I'm like, I've never like, you are Bodo lah. You know, it's not like that. But it's like, if I need to be hard, I will do so.
But on a higher level, like, you know, do you feel like over time that you've had to change or soften the way you talk to young players? Because, you know, they say Gen Z is everything, like you cannot scold them and things like that. Have you had to change that approach? I've had to change the way I talk to younger people also.
No, well, it's not just them, right? It's like everybody is different. So probably if I get to know you a little bit better, I'll speak to you a little bit different from him and everybody else in the room. So again, it's about knowing your crowd. So if this younger generation they respond better to a certain manner or certain language, and we try to go a little bit more there. But when I speak to Haris Harun, for example, the captain of the national team, then it's a little bit different.
Just let go.
Because he's really like damn. I remember watching him live and like, wow, this guy is damn solid, you know?
He is.
He's solid.
So and he's very professional as well. Right. So different players are they're all different human beings, and it's about us getting to know each and every one of them, and what is possible and what is not possible and what gets them going. And so it's not just about one size fit all kind of thing. There will be situations where you just need to address the team, or there are many times where you need to address the team, but a lot of times it's just individually you need to manage them.
You need one of those videos to leak, Gavin. You know, like, everybody sit down. I remember that Guardiola just say, sit down, you know, Messi is an animal, you know, that kind. But I mean, you know, like, oh shit, what was I going to ask? So the thing about you being a head coach, right? One thing I always wonder is, like, in the more mature leagues, there's manager and coach. Singapore, is it because the roles kind of collapsed into one where you are the coach and manager, or like, why is there no difference, or is there a difference?
So again, it's how you define a manager and how you define a coach, right? So if you use the UK or the examples in Europe, so Arteta is like a head coach, right? But he worked with a sporting director. They call it sporting director these days, where he manages all the transfers, and then you've got Ferguson, who's more like a manager. They say manages everything outside the field and let the assistants crack on. In Singapore, by nature of things, we have a head coach, we have a general manager in that sense, and a general manager is often responsible for all the administration stuff. So the head coach doesn't have to worry about that. And so he takes the burden off that, so the head coach can just focus on the football, really. But at some clubs, you still have head coaches who's involved with that little bit. But it's again up to the preference, and also up to what the club can afford. Because the more stuff means more money also.
I see. But got people call you gaffer or not?
Oh, many.
The gaffer.
Many.
Oh, really?
They all call me gaffer.
Oh, that's cool, man.
But I've also heard the criticism of the modern game, right? And I think recently it was the image was of the Manchester United coach Ruben Amorim when they were losing to I think Grimsby. That he took out this little board with magnets on it. He was just like moving them around, and it looked very sad. It looked like he's really out of his depth. But there's also a lot of criticism that nowadays the game is dominated by like Pep Guardiola kind of style, where it's really about tactics, and the players just they're just doing the same thing or doing one very specific thing during the game, and it's no longer free flowing like Messi running around and all that. Like where does your coaching philosophy sit in all of this, lah?
So it's going to be a very boring answer, because I'll go back to definitions, because tactics are basically an agreement for the team within the players. And so when we go into the game, and then when we talk about tactics, every team would have tactics, but it's just what tactics. What are the different agreements set out by the coach with the players? So like Pep Guardiola might be, okay, we want more possession, and so for that to happen, we need to position here. Some might be more, let's go a little bit more direct, so we do this. So for us is for me at least, again, it goes back to which players we have. If we have very, very good wingers, so let's try to get the balls to the wingers as often as we can. And we will do that by doing this before that. If we have a striker very good in the air, then let's put more crosses in. But in order to do that, we need to do this. So going to each team, then it really depends on what ingredients you have. Then you decide the course that you want to set out.
I see. And what's your most unpopular take? What's your hot take? Got anything about modern day football that your thinking is counterintuitive to what most people think?
That maybe the head coaches, so oftentimes they put the head coach there, and they say it's all about him. Like he decides, he is the reason why teams make or break, right? Like at United now, for example, right? But obviously, if you study the bigger picture, obviously it's not just a problem with him, right? Many head coaches have come and they failed. So all I'm trying to say is the head coach is often out there in the limelight or in the public's eye, but there are many things that contributes to performance on game day. But because the head coach is just there in the public eye, then oftentimes he's the target, he's the reason. Win, he lose, also he.
In fact, win is probably not so much him. It's
the striker good. But when lose, it's him. Because he's the one that addresses the public. But sometimes it's about being able to take a step back and not be so much stimulus response. And be like, oh, maybe it's this, or because there are a lot. To be fair, also to the public, they don't see a lot of things.
Yeah, correct.
Like in training, maybe that guy got diarrhea for 1 week, so he didn't train very well.
Yeah.
And then so these are the things behind the scenes that public don't get to see. And so sometimes they make their judgment too quickly, I think.
So I mean, it sounds like being a coach, it is so multifaceted, and you have to think, you also have to be good at so many things. So how do you feel inside when you see people overnight become life coach? Like now coaches everywhere. Like, so do you feel like, hey, I studied don't know how many years for this, and suddenly you become life coach? Does that irk you or not?
Not really. Like people, you do what you like. As long as if you got an audience, good for you. Ultimately for me, it's just focus on what I do, and then if the most important audience are my players and the staff, and they are the most important people to me at that moment.
Any message for parents of young Singaporean children about what they should encourage if they want, if the kid exhibits some potential or something?
So what they advise for them if they want their kid to be successful?
No, just general.
Just in general, I mean, you've trained children all the way from 4, 16. Like, what should young, parents of young children be doing to try and, whether it's encourage them to be more passionate?
First and foremost, just know where the finishing line is. Because oftentimes they take their finishing line as making the elite team of the under 8s or elite team of the under 10s, and if they don't make the team, it's like doom and gloom.
Yeah, no ROI.
Yeah, no ROI. But realistically, if you look at a footballer's journey, there's so many possibilities, so many things that can derail their journey. And so sometimes we have to remember, okay, what is the ultimate end point? If it's the men's national team, let's say, then okay, so then the question is, how do we get there? Does it mean that if I don't make the under 8s team now, that means he got no chance to reach the national team? Not really, right? There are many different ways to get to where you want to be. But at the same time, in this journey, there will be so many different obstacles. Then the question is, are we giving the player enough tools to deal with that? Something I said earlier, right? To deal with the obstacles. Because one downside of a very talented player, right? So he often gets his way early on because he's the best player. The coach will let him do whatever he wants. And so oftentimes he's not developed in many other areas, like for example, the thinking, right? Or managing himself. Then when it comes to the real world, where the professional league, and then suddenly you get dropped. And you're like, I've always been playing. I can't deal with it. And that's why a lot of them also don't make it. Right? So sometimes the players that make it at the very end are those that can survive. And how they survive is to manage the situations well enough. And so sometimes, football skills are all very, very important. Don't get me wrong, right? But at the same time, managing yourself, learning to deal with situations, equally important.
But then, like, that means you're saying for a parent of a 5-year-old, like, parents need to go ask his son, you want to be a national team or not? You don't want, you don't waste my time. Right? I'm not bringing you to the game.
What's your finishing line? Where's your finishing line?
Exactly.
Tell me now.
Tonight, you go back and ask, what's your finishing line?
That's it. That's how you start. No, I'm kidding. No, but again, okay, obviously the kid must enjoy it, right? If you don't enjoy it, like even at a professional level, if they don't enjoy it, then there's no meaning to then it becomes just purely a 8 to 5 job. Or well, a lot of them have 4 to 6 job. Right? It's not, but so it's important. It's a long journey. If you don't have joy, if you cannot sustain that happiness or the fulfillment, then it's going to be a very bumpy journey. So if you cannot find that meaning, or you cannot go back to the meaning as to why you're playing football, if it's not strong, then you're not going to get there. Because even no matter how many tools you have in your head to deal with situations and setbacks and stuff like that, if you cannot go back to the deep reason within why you play football, then it's not going to help lah. And that comes early on, like whether you enjoy the game or not.
But why is that different from any other job? Because so many people hate their jobs, but they still are expected to perform their best. Why is it different for a footballer?
It's not really different lah. You know, ultimately it's can you suppress that negative side of things so that you can go on and go out there and perform? That's for footballers, right? Ultimately, we need very strong brains because, like I said earlier, maybe something happened at home. Can you keep that aside? Can you just think task? in the pitch, the referee trigger you, right? Can you just suppress that emotion aside and think task? Something we often said, right? Like you miss a shot, you get frustrated. Is it helpful for the team if you moan about it, or you go and chase for the next ball back? You know, so these are the things that contributes to be a good player. So the ability to suppress things is just like people might wake up one day and they don't feel like going to work, but they must go to work, right? Because you want to put food on the table. So can you just put aside that and then just go next? Same as football. So not really different in that sense. But sometimes people make football too special.
I mean, even as when I'm hearing all this, and even as a fan, I feel like maybe that's something we should also think about. Like, there are peaks and there are dips in the team performance, but what does it mean to support, the team and support Singapore football and all that, right? Sometimes you just got to live with that discomfort of like, okay, we're not at the best now, but going to games and supporting and shouting louder is part of that process, right? And that's something I feel like maybe in Singapore culture, because it's so much about KPI. Can you? What's the last data point for your last match, or what your last win was? That's the thing that we get used to. Like, oh, lose already, that means we can't support already, which is something we also need to learn to get over.
I think our society in general, we want things done yesterday kind of thing, right? We're all like, we should be champions already today. Why are we not champions? Like, why didn't we win the game? And sometimes, like you said, sometimes as a football fan, like you need to be with them ups and downs, right? Like, you often hear Liverpool fans, they'll be with the club during the bad moments, and then now they have the good times. But that's the life of a fan. And sometimes with the local teams, it's the same. With the national teams, it's the same. But the challenge for us as the national team is to give the people reasons to keep coming back. Like on the pitch, I know sometimes we don't get the results, right? You never find a 100% streak, right? Forever in a sense. But if people see that you're trying, if people see that there's a clear idea of what you're trying to do, and they can get behind that idea, they can get behind your efforts, then they'll keep coming back. Because I think most people understand that you don't always win, right? But then the challenge for us, and that's our duty, is to go out there to give them that reason to come back again, despite maybe the results not there yet. In that regard.
So, and why is it important to you personally that football in Singapore must be something that we keep trying to get better at? Because the ROI, bro, we small country, the resources, that. Why?
Well, I'm not paid enough to answer that question. No, I'm kidding. But for me personally, because I love football. I love our national team. Like they say, like the national team is always the biggest team in your country, and you want it to do well, and for people like me who are so obsessed with the game, then naturally you want things to be better in this context, and for us, like, because we've used the word interim quite a while now, so we know that we won't be here for a long term. But my message our message to the staff and the players is like, we just want to leave the shirt in a better place, right? Just quoting the All Blacks a little bit. So for however many windows we're here, we want to make sure that it's in a better place than when we first took it, and so that the next guy can continue the path, continue bring the national team forward. And so hopefully, if we all start doing that together, then we might arrive there one day, and hopefully the ROI will be worthy enough of all the efforts,
So when like the going gets tough, is there a certain moment that you remember that you see as, wow, this is a reminder of why I do what I do? Be it at a football game or an interaction with a teammate or a reaction from the fans. Is there a certain moment?
The heartwarming moments for me, at least, is like, for example, I've worked with some of the players at the youth level, and then when they made their professional debuts, then they go national team, then you'll be like, this is it. This is why you do it. Or players in a club where you've worked with them a long time, and then they became, they got married, they have kids, they're a good father, then you'll be like, this is why we do it, to see that journey, to have that, to help build that relationship, help that individual grow. These are the things that are quite fulfilling. And also small little things like, player going overseas, doing well overseas, then you'll be like, yeah, this is nice moment. You know? But at the same time, there are very difficult moments in this game, right? When you lose, when you're on a losing streak, and then sometimes your brain can play games with you, right? And then those are times where the coach needs to be able to bring himself out of it because he needs to help the team, right? And often this is one of the biggest challenges in football because you don't always win, because you don't always have the best team in the league, right? And how do you deal with yourself so that you can help the team? Because a lot of times I tell you, like last season we didn't win a game, right? So the players are down and I'm worse than them, frustrated, emotional and all. But next day we have for example, next day, often we have a meeting at 11 a.m., a review meeting, and then we do our recovery stuff. But by 11 a.m., I need to be able to find a way to give them a message to cling on to start moving forward. Right? So in that time, I needed to process everything. What do I say to them? How do I say it to them? So that we can get going. So that's a difficult part of the job.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Because if they see their leader still down, then...
Yeah, it's hard. So first you need to have a 8 a.m. meeting with yourself, and then
but often the meeting starts at night, like you can't sleep much, or I'll be working on the videos throughout the night, and then during that time you're just processing what has happened, and then
damn. And I mean, in the near future we have 2 games coming up. Maybe you can give a bit more context about that and why, like what we can do to support lah.
I think in terms of context, first, these 2 India games are the 3rd and 4th game of our qualification campaign to Asian Cup, and the country has not qualified based on merit before, and so we are in a position where we have a good chance to do that, and I think that is one step for the national team to give the people a reason to get behind them, to qualify, to give a little bit of pride and joy, as they have said. And so in this phase of the campaign, these 2 are the middle games, and normally the 2 middle games are quite significant because it can go either way now. And so if we do get the kind of performances and the results that we want, then we would go into the next window a lot stronger to qualify. And so normally in a window you only have 1 competitive game, but this time you have 2 back to back. So there are quite a lot of points to play for, 6 points. That can be quite defining. And so that in itself increases the importance, if you like, of the two matches that are coming up. And I know all the players based on the last window of interaction. They're all very excited, I guess, but maybe a little bit nervous at the same time because you never know what might happen. But these are the kind of games that we live for. And then like we already recognize and we've spoken a lot internally that these are the opportunities to show people or give people the reason to come and support us, because again, people will only be there if you give them a reason to. And all we can do is what we do on the pitch.
Solid.
Nice.
Cool, man.
So, I mean, I'll be there. I'll be watching the match.
The first is on the 9th and the 14th. 9th is at home.
9 in Singapore and 14 in Goa.
Okay.
You can come to Goa.
I'll be
I would love to.
The home league.
I go away leg. I go away.
You go home and away. Perfect.
But it will be broadcast on TV lah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And if people wanted to find out more about the FAS, what is happening behind the scenes, where would be the best place? Instagram or?
Yeah, I guess they're on all social media pages, I believe. I'm not a social media guy myself, but they should be on all social media pages, and I'm sure all the informations are there already.
Awesome. Cool, man. Cool. Now we just have the final question of every podcast, which is the One Shiok Thing. We can go first. We can give you 2 more minutes to think of something if you haven't.
Okay.
Terence, you have yours?
Mine is... just a video that I just chanced upon recently of the Westminster dog show. Like basically there's this dog show that goes on in the US every year where the best looking dogs and the most agile dogs come together to compete. And usually there's a segment for the show dogs, the good looking dogs, like to actually go and just present themselves and get assessed based on their looks. So usually those are like corgis, for example, those dogs with very, very short legs. They usually go to that segment.
Right.
But for some reason, there's this dog called 𝗪𝗲 the corgi who is part of the agility course instead. And it's such a I mean, people are watching it because it's cute, because it's funny, but I'm actually watching it because it's quite inspiring to see, a dog with a body that's not meant for speeding through like obstacles and all that. Suddenly, like, being part of this agility contest and, looking quite funny doing it, but at the same time, really putting in 110%. So in some sense, it really shows that, like what we were saying earlier about whatever cards you're dealt with, like you just max out and do it all the way. And that, I mean, I did not expect to feel inspired from watching a corgi in an agility contest, but it was quite inspiring.
Oh, what a way to close the circle. My One Shiok Thing is a video I saw about a new electric skateboard that has been developed. Because I mean, I know Singapore electric skateboards and all a bit touchy issue, PMD, PMA. But over the years, we've seen some cool things come out. I think the coolest so far was, do you skateboard by any chance?
No.
So there was this one wheel thing, which was like a skateboard with a big wheel in the center, meant to replicate like snowboarding. But this video is called, we invented the first electric skateboard that rides like a real skateboard. It's called a liquid skateboard. So previously, all these motorized skateboard, they always used to have a remote. To go faster or stop. So this one, I don't know why no one did this sooner, but how it works is like you get on a skateboard, you kick it, it starts, and all you do is you step on one part of the skateboard to cover the sensor, and it will cruise at that pace. You want to go faster, you kick, and then you just put your foot at the back, it'll cruise, and the moment you take it off, it will just slow down naturally. Which I thought is such a graceful type of electric skateboard, and it was made by like hardcore skateboarders. I don't think I'll ever get it in Singapore because limited places to ride. But I just thought, hey, this sounds like something should have been made like when electric skateboards first came about. So that's my One Shiok Thing. What about you, Gaffer?
It's going to be boring again, but it's a book that I recently read. 𝗬𝗲 𝗬𝗏, How Emotions Are Made.
Okay.
So it's about her interpretation that there are like emotions within, like sadness and is different in everyone, right? And ultimately we derive our emotions based on the concepts that we have in our head, and we are just our brain is just a predictive machine. So you're just predicting your environment around based on all the sensory data that you collect, and it's predicting based on the concepts you have. So because you have this concept, then you have this emotion. So what that tells us is, if we recognize what concepts we have in our brain, then we can actually determine what we feel eventually. So one situation, if you have a different concept, will lead to a different. So it's like a mental model thing. So that's quite cool.
Did you read it because of your job, or that's generally stuff you're interested in?
That has
overlapped
so much that
Oh, I see. Do you make your whole team read it?
No, they wouldn't get past the introduction.
Oh, but that's awesome, man.
It's cool.
And I mean, thank you so much for what you do. Jumping off the corporate band. I mean, not following the typical Singapore path, really helping develop Singapore football. And I mean, wish you all the best, man.
Thanks, guys.
All the best for the matches ahead, like you said. Let's focus on what's happening the next week or so.
And
one day at a time.
One day at a time. But I mean, even then, hope you stay in Singapore football for as long as possible. Because like you have football in your blood, and thanks again, man. Thanks for coming on also.
Thanks for having me.
Cool.
Thank you.
And to everyone listening, please show some love. Go check FAS out on the social media. And support them against India. My ancestral country, but Singapore. Majulah Singapura. But thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you all soon.